It's Christmas Time in the City is the 15th episode of the third season of the Doris Day Show. And in this episode, we have everybody. We have, of course, Doris, Billy, Toby, and Nelson. We have Buck. And we also have Mr. Harvey, Mr. Nicholson, and Myrna. We have the Palluccis. And we have the return of the brilliant Mr. Jarvis. I love Mr. Jarvis as a character, so I was rather excited about that. And there will be spoilers as I discuss what happens in this and mention some personal highlights. And I will, of course, discuss the ending, so spoilers from now. And of course, this is set around Christmas, and it starts off with Doris by a tree, wrapping a present, very immediately establishing the time of year. Straight after that, she walks past a street Santa Claus, and then Mr. Jarvis walks past the Santa Claus and gets annoyed at the Santa for loudly ringing his bell. Of course, the Santa was only doing his job, trying to raise collections for charity. Mr. Jarvis is having a whinge about that, which really helps to set the tone for his character in the rest of the episode. Doris is talking to Billy and Toby about the party that they're going to be having, and they ask if Mr. Jarvis is coming. And Doris says that Mr. Jarvis doesn't really like Christmas, but then she realises that maybe she should invite him. Maybe that's the kind, neighbourly thing to do. She does. He's not interested. And then the party happens, and the rest of the episode is at the party, at the apartment. They absolutely made great use of the space. They packed a lot of people in to what I think is actually generally a pretty small apartment, but it works really well. And we get some pretty funny scenes. One moment in particular, actually, is when they're having quite a noisy time. And Mr. Jarvis knocks on the door and he threatens Doris. And he tells her, if you don't stop it, I'll complain to the landlord. And the landlord, of course, being Mr. Pallucci, tells him, well, why don't you complain now? And of course, he was at the party and Mr. Jarvis was not a fan of this. He goes back downstairs and they all start singing carols. And I love this so much because I always love it when Doris Day, of course, gets to sing in episodes. It doesn't happen as much as I would like. In fact, nowhere near as much as I would like to be the case. So when she does, it's kind of extra special. And she sings Silver Bells, which is on the Doris Day Christmas album, and Silent Night, which I don't think is on that one, but I think it's on the Complete Christmas album, which is a slightly different album, but with a lot of the similar songs. And they're just beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous to listen to. And it gets quite emotional. And we see Mr. Jarvis. Occasionally it will cut to Mr. Jarvis, who's trying to read a Christmas carol appropriately. And it's clear that he's starting to think maybe he should join them. And I think it's quite telling about how Christmas affects people in different ways. When it's the lively, noisy, chaotic side of Christmas, he's not interested. But when it's the slower, more sentimental, emotional side, that starts to speak to him. And I think that was really interesting. And then he goes up and he joins them, and it's just beautifully framed. We have this moment for maybe up to like 30 seconds. It lasts quite a while, where we just have Doris, Billy and Toby, and then Mr. Jarvis. And it's so gorgeous and so well done, and it's beautiful. It's really moving. A lot of Christmas magic in this. A lot of beautiful Christmas decorations. It's so wonderful, and the music is gorgeous. And obviously, there's a nice message there about extending kindness to your neighbours, even if your neighbours are Mr. Jarvis. It's a fun episode. It's an emotional episode, and I knew I'd love it. I love Christmas episodes of TV shows, and the Christmas episodes of the Doris Day Show we've had have been wonderful. And thankfully, It's Christmas Time in the City is absolutely no exception. It's pretty brilliant.